The work of North Bergen artist Michael Rees exists in both the actual and the virtual world. An associate professor of sculpture and digital media at William Paterson University, his art is shown internationally, from Chelsea to China. He creates his sculptures in 3 dimensions on his computer. Then, they cross over into his studio through the miracle of rapid prototyping.
I have to say that probably it's my fault that people refer to me as the technology person. I was enthusiastic about the technology. I was extremely interested in it. And for me, technology, most people think of technology as engineering. I think of technology as a philosophy or point of view. And digital media has within it an incredibly elaborate philosophy. It's back there, it's in there. I'm fascinated by it. As a result, I'm uncomfortable being referred to as the the sculptor that does the digital media stuff, because I think it's so much more than that. At the same time, I'm fascinated by the digital media and it's become an influence in the work. So how do we handle all this stuff? This is a pretty good example, actually. I'm playing around with this with the wires and stuff, but this has those 2 sculptures that you see in the animation there, right? So actually, when you look at this physical sculpture and you look at the virtual animation over here, this isn't real time. This is a recorded, like a film or something like that. It's pre-recorded and then played. What happens is, this is actually from a 3D CAD program. I say CAD. CAD stands for computer-aided design. It's actually not CAD, it's actually more like modeling, which is the same stuff that they do in Hollywood films like Iron Man and Batman and all the special effects stuff. The larger pieces, once they've been assembled, then we coat them with epoxy, resin, and all that sort of stuff and finish them. But that's the technology. It's not unlike, for anybody that made model kits, airplanes and things like that. We have a block and all the little parts are in the block and we break the things away and we start assembling it up. And it's a lot of fun, actually. It's something that I deeply enjoy.
His work exists somewhere in between the studio and the laptop, and it comes in all kinds of shapes and sizes. There's the Ajna series.
The Ajna series, which is the spines and skulls with these various sort of dollies or foibles built upon them. Ajna is the 6th chakra of the major chakras. It's in between the eyeballs. For me, it's the chakra that governs dreams and hallucination, imagination, daydreaming, all these kinds of things, of which artists are, constantly in play. And within that are some of my little meditations or musings about this particular state or this place.
And then, of course, there is the series known as The Monsters.
If you look at the animations that I make and you look at these monsters, they're not a horror film. They're more like an ambiguity film. Completely different thing. And so you look at it, at one level you're attracted, repulsed, and at the same time they're really funny. They're actually, oftentimes people break out in laughter the first time they see these funny monsters. And I think it's funny because various people have had different responses to it. Like one person said, that ain't right, whatever that is, it ain't right. And another person said, who was a stockbroker on Wall Street, said, oh my God, that's my life. He felt like he was looking at his life, Even though they, on first glance, they look like monsters that are just like, multi-limbed nightmares, actually you begin to see all these other things in them.
Another project is the Sculptural User Interface, or SoUI for short, an open-source social sculpture-making computer program that Rees has been developing for years.
It's a language-to-form synthesizer, and you'll see in just a moment that the act of typing creates 3-dimensional form. Now, it's a simple thing in that letters are mapped to objects. So the act of typing makes form. In this case, we have an alphabet loaded that's a pipe alphabet. you know, just as a demonstration, we can create a different alphabet. Let's do Helvetica. You'll see that now the letters show up as letters. So people can make all different kinds of alphabets, you know? I've been working on this for a long time. It's like something that's fun to play with. It's a little bit of a sketchbook.
Speaking with Michael Rees about art is a little bit like listening to a physicist talk about particle colliders or the shape of the universe. There's an adventurousness in his projects that feels as palpable as a science experiment. Or maybe it's just that his unusual approach to making art strikes one as being altogether futuristic. I had to ask, where is it all going? What is the future of art?
I'm an artist that's part of the bridge generation. I've got a foot in the old world where I made things and they were object specific and, you know, sometimes performance or installation or something like that. But I also have this foot in the new world. I've done animations and built computer programs and done things like this. Where is art headed? It's headed all over the place. We're going to do, you know, people are going to do everything. You know, we're going to see these kids that have come up that have never touched anything. They didn't do Play-Doh, they did 3D. They didn't do painting, they did Photoshop. They didn't play with Monopoly, they played with Sims. Already you're going to see that they're going to create art. This is the material of their lives. They're going to create art out of these things and it's going to be fantastic.